Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of this little series from the Maria Trolle book Botanicum, and we're doing this pumpkin house. Now yesterday's video, I assume it was yesterday, whenever it went out, we did the pumpkin and a few bits and pieces. Now we're going to work on the greenery. I'm going to do it in exactly the same way as I did the greenery yesterday on a version of this I did for myself. I was really pleased with how it looked, so I thought I'd do it again for you. Now we start off with a layer of our lightest layer of green, and I've just sharpened my pencil and it's done that. I thought it would break because it was a wobbly when I was using it yesterday. So this is the cadmium green pale, if you're going to grab it out. And I'm going to come in a bit closer. We're only going to be doing the tendrils at the moment. I don't think we'll do the leaves to start with, that'd be too much. So cadmium green pale, and we start here right in the middle with this bit, and I'm just putting a reasonably even layer down, don't worry too much. There are going to be plenty more layers going down anyway. And even if it's not too dark, it doesn't matter at this point. And we're just following it round. If it looks a bit liney, that's fine again. It's that's how it's going to end up looking anyway. So be a bit careful around your bird's feet though. I think I'll probably be doing those in grey or black, brown, a dark colour anyway. So I think won't matter too much. There's another train going by. It's interesting. There's a reduced train service, and yet I keep hearing trains. I've had to close the blind. It's really sunny now, which is nice. I don't know whether one boy wore a Mac. The other one put one in his bag. Didn't wear one. He said he prefers to be a little bit cold so he doesn't get too hot and sweaty. I don't blame him. And we'll do these bits of vine as well. These I'm going to colour a little bit more carefully because I may not add another colour on top. It's particularly on the very thin bits. I'm going to spend a little bit longer on these. We've got this one as well. Can you see? Oh yeah, just checking. So I hope everyone's doing okay today. I'm continuing straight from yesterday's recording actually, but I made myself a coffee and had a square of chocolate just to keep me going. I haven't drunk the coffee yet though. It's cooling off. I left it next door. It's quite nice today. It's the first time in the week that I've actually been able to record and leave the door open in here. It's quite convenient. It means if I want to go and grab something, it's easy, whereas when the children are home I shut the door and then they can talk and things like that without worrying. But and they can't hear me blathering on. Blathering? I don't know what the word is. Right, the others are stems for our leaves. I'm going to not do those yet. I'm just going to tidy that. We're going to concentrate on this piece first. It looks like a handle, doesn't it? I wonder where it goes after that. Behind there. Anyway, we're going to go for a darker green. I can't remember which one I used. I'm just looking. Would it have been the juniper? Would it have been... I think it might have been the oxide of chrome. I'm trying to find it. Juniper or Prussian. I'm going to go for the juniper green actually. Is that... no, that's what we use for the carrot. Let's not do that. Let's go oxide of chrome or chrome green. Chrome green. It's quite dark, this one. I'm going to give it a sharpen. I want it... you need a sharp point for this next bit. There we go. Chrome green. And what we're going to do is we're going to go on the inside of this line here. Okay. because we want this to look like it's not flat. Now I can't really remember what the stem of a pumpkin looks like, but the way this is drawn indicates to me that it's not a flat piece. So that's how I'm colouring it. So I hope I'm doing right. But when I did this on my other picture, I was happy with it. So we're going to start again here on this one now. It goes very narrow here, so I'm going to try and do quite a narrow line. You can colour on top of the black line as well as beside it when it gets really thin. Oh, excuse me sniffing. I'm hoping I've not got my boy's freshers flu. He was not sounding very well this morning. I can do that one there and then the outside of that one, so that this one in the middle is sort of not got a dipped in bit. Yeah, he actually took a handkerchief with him, so he must have been feeling a bit rotten. But he didn't have a temperature or anything, just a bit sniffy, which is exactly how I'm feeling. I'm gonna blow my nose in a minute. I'm just gonna finish this bit of line here. Right, that's better. Now I'm looking for a colour that's somewhere in between these two. So I'm grabbing my cadmium green. You could use this, or the sap green would be good too. I just like the cadmium green. I'm sure I'm going to run it out before the rest. Right, and I'm going to put that both on the outside. So I'm going to go along the outside. It's very thin here, up here. Now, I haven't been completely accurate. I'm not going to worry about it. And then just extending this sort of dark line a bit in places, tidying it up a bit. And I can extend it where there's space, there isn't necessarily. And here I'm going to put it on this side and this side a bit. Gets a bit narrow here. So basically I'm doing a bit on each side of that little section. So we hopefully can still see that pale colour in the middle in most of it, but we've got a couple of colours going on. I'm just going to fade that a bit more, make that section a bit smaller. Now this one has got no dark in this section, so we need to put some on both sides. Now hopefully this is also making this look a little bit more rounded, because it's the stalk, isn't it, of the pumpkin, or the stem or whatever, and it would be rounded as well as textured. It's taking a bit of concentration, this. Here I might just do the outside because there's not much space. Just noticed I haven't done this bit very well. Just redoing it. There we go. Now, we have these sort of viney tendrils. I'm going to grab the chrome green for this. I'm just going to do a really little bit. So just here where it's coming out from behind the pumpkin, a little bit there where it's crossing there. Basically everywhere where there might be a little bit of shadow, where it's just over, where there's a little bit, you know, where it's touching something else. bit of Johanna Basford, she does that. Okay, so that's it for that. It's really simple. We now need to do the leaves. Now they're a little more time consuming, shall we say. So what we need to do again is to get our cadmium green pale and go over the whole of each leaf. So including the vine. Now I'm going to try and colour it sort of in the direction that I think makes sense for the leaf. So in the direction maybe of the way the veins are drawn. But I don't want to purposely make it look stripy. But on the other hand, because I'm doing it fast, it's going to have an element of that to it. So I'm just getting a layer down. It's quite light, but that's okay. Just get us started. Now I am going fast. I realise that a lot of you don't colour this fast, but I don't want it to be boring. I could stop the video and do it, but I think I'll just get it done on camera so you can see. I know there's a sort of split between some people prefer to see a bit of quick time-lapse speedy uppy colouring, and other people like to see every single bit. I can't keep everyone happy, so I just do this. And I know some people don't even like to hear talking when they're colouring. That's fine, just mute, you know. I think it's better to talk and then give you the option of muting than if I don't talk you can't mute, because well you have no option to listen. So just seeing whether I'm in shot. Yeah. Give my hand a rest as well. Trying to still look after my hand a little bit, or it's been a little bit sore. It's not been mega sore. It was sore enough at the weekend, and I was thinking about taking some painkillers, which I didn't in the end, because I went to bed and I found a comfortable position and I went off to sleep. I thought if I can't sleep I'll take some, but it's been a lot better. But I'm just being careful not to use pencils that are too hard, that I might be tempted to press hard, you know, grip hard or whatever, because that's not going to be good. But I am still doing a lot of colouring. To be honest, I don't think it's the colouring that's caused it. I mean, obviously I don't want to think it's that, so I'm going to not, you know, focus on that. But I honestly think that it is the computer work that's doing it, and I wasn't using my computer and a keyboard in a very good place. Basically on my desk I have a piece of colouring in front of me like this is here, and the keyboard is behind it, up against the monitor at the back of the desk, and I often just lean over like that and type with my hands like up, not even leaning on the book. It's not going to be good, is it? So I've been trying to not do that. Bring the keyboard forward, move the book, but I don't have a lot of room. And if I'm using a big pencil set like this 120 Castles, or my Prismas, or even Polychromas, they're spread everywhere. So there isn't a lot of space. Now this snail is getting in my way. I need to sharpen up a bit so I can get round him. Now you can see that you could leave this just like this if you wanted, and we've got some colour on the leaves, but I want to make them look a little bit more interesting, and yeah, I just wanted my picture to look a little bit different, just having a big patches of plain green. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's a green you love and you want to stick with it and just keep it plain, keep it plain. You know, you're doing your picture for you most of the time. I know occasionally people do pictures for give them away, but you know, doing your picture for you, so make it look the way you want it to look. So but we're nearly done with this, and I'll show you where I'm going. This snail is going to get in my way, but I'll have to manage. Right, nope, there we go. Now this very centre of each leaf I'm going to make darker. So I'm going to use my chrome green that I used before, and we'll start with this one here and we'll do the snail one last. So I'm thinking where this here is, it's the sort of centre, so I'm going to put down quite a deep bit of colour just there, okay, and then I'm going to just fade it out towards the edges. I'm going to try and fade it to almost nothing to make it easier to blend it in a minute with my next colour. Okay, like that. And then the same with this one. Don't have to be too neat, but you do want to make sure you blend it out a bit. You don't want just a big area of dark without some slightly lighter bits. See, this bit's really dark here, but it's lighter, much lighter here. Yeah. This one is going to have a much bigger area. I've got a much bigger leaf. But it's easier to fade it when we've got more. Basically, when I fade, so I start here, I'm pressing with a medium pressure, not really hard, and I bring that out, same pressure, and then I'm just slightly putting less pressure on my pencil as I come out there. And then it's lighter. It's also less layers. Here I can layer over and over and over the same bit, whereas here I haven't. Now Mr. Snail's going to get in our way. We'll do this side first. So put a dark area here and then just lighten it around here. So you can see what I mean by snail, it's right in the middle. Just doing my best really. Around him. There we go. Now before I finish with this dark pencil, remember how we did a few darker areas on these vines? We're going to do the same on these stems. So a bit here. I just heard a very high screechy brake noise that made me jump. There. Do you hate it? Do you, if you're not jumpy, don't know, but you're colouring on jump and you do that and sometimes leave a mark on the paper. I've done that before. Luckily it doesn't happen too often. I'm a jumpy person. I don't know why I'm so jumpy. I've always been jumpy. Okay. Now we're going to use our cadmium green to further spread this colour out. So you see, so I'm going right over this centre part and then just taking it further towards the tip of each edge really. Getting quite a quick, I find actually sometimes when I do a quicker movement it looks more fluid and neater than if I do it slowly, because I'm not pressing so hard as well. I think that helps. Now don't worry, this isn't the final layer. So we will have something else going on. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Can you answer in the chat? I think I've asked this before. Now I am thinking of getting some different pastels. I bought a few pan pastels. Now I bought a silver, a gold and a sort of pearlescent one, which I like. But obviously I don't have a big range of colours. Now with pan pastels I'm thinking they're going to take up so much room because the containers, whoops, are so big out the lines there. I'm just going to erase that. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to get any more of those really, or maybe just a few. I also bought, while I was on holiday, a Senelia iridescent gold pastel. And I wasn't really so impressed with the iridescence as with the metallic pan pastel. It felt like as I blended it into the paper with my sponge cloth. Hang about, Mr. Snail, don't move. I felt like as I rubbed it in, the iridescence actually rubbed away. So it only really looked very shiny if I drew with it onto the page, which isn't how I apply pastel. But I don't know if I'm just not very practiced. I've only used it about 2-3 times. Okay, my next step with this is a leaf green light. Now this is our very lightest green and it's slightly yellowy, and I'm going to use it on the edges of the leaves to make them look a little brighter. Now you can go as far into the leaf as you wish with this. You can go right in or just on the tip. I'm just going to decide as I colour what I think works, and I think it just warms and blends, and I just like it. So the other option, I've got my Mungio pastels which I use all the time and I do like them, and I've got some of my colours are running out a little bit. I am going to go all the way over I think with this, but I'm not going to do the stems. I'm only going to do the leaves with this. I'm happy with how the stems look. So what would you advise? Would you advise I stick with Mungio or get the inscribed ones which seem like the same ones under a different name, just to get some more if I'm running out? Should I try a different brand? Are there better brands out there? You know, I know Faber-Castell do them. There are loads of other different budget brands out there. You know, who's got a good range of colour? My colours that I'm running out of are yellow. I don't feel that there's enough variety of greens in the Mungio pastels. There's too many browns and greys for my liking. I usually complain that there's not enough browns and greys in pencils, but in pastels it's too many. There aren't many pastel shades. You know, I'm talking about soft chalk pastels here. There don't seem to be many really light pale pastel shades. So what do you use? What do you like? What have you tried? What don't you like? Let me know. I really want to sort of market research. So I am interested, and then I might put something on my Christmas list. You see, I've always got people wanting to, well, my parents always want to buy me something for Christmas, obviously. Well, I say obviously, it's kind of them, and I'm never sure. What do I say? And I was thinking maybe some new pastels. Now the Sonnelier pastels come in sets, and but they are strange. I haven't got it here. It comes in a round stick, which, you know, looks like an oil pastel, and it feels hard like an oil pastel. And even when I apply it to the sponge, or the cloth, it feels a bit like an oil pastel. But a dust comes off it when you rub it, so it's definitely a chalk pastel. And it's called, they do oil pastels and chalk pastels, and the ones that I bought weren't the oil pastels. I was sure. I spoke to the man in the art shop. He told me about them, but they just feel a bit thicker. But so do pan pastels compared to the Mungio. They sort of, I don't know, they feel like there's some sort of oil in them a bit, rather than them just being like a stick of chalk. Right, I am happy with my leaves. I'm going to finish there with those, and we're going to move on to the grass. Quite simple grass. I am thinking I don't want to use this colour or this colour. I'm just having a look at my swatch chart. I want something in between. I think I might use the Castle Green light. It's fairly light. It might be too light, but grass, I never know what colour to do. I mean, it might not be grass, you know, it could be anything really. It could be shoots of pumpkin, but I want to do it a slightly different colour. Now they are quite long, so it could vary the colour through the my son just sent me a really confusing message. The writers got everything they wanted. What on earth does he mean? I'm just going to put Don't know what he's on about. Anyway, so you could vary the colour through. I'm going to make it, layer it up a little bit more at the bottom and make it a bit lighter at the tip, I think. It's a really easy, quick, maybe lazy way of colouring. I don't mind. It's the way I've watched other people colour, so I don't want to say they're lazy, they're certainly not. It saves you choosing another colour and trying to match it up. I wonder if my son meant to send me a link to an article, or whether he was supposed to be sending a message to somebody else. Who knows? I'm wondering if the writers got everything they wanted. Just wondering if he's talking about something on the train, the writers. He might be talking about the strikers, maybe. Because the train strike, I don't know. If they did, that means the strike actually called off, but I don't know. That'd be nice, but I can't see that being a thing. Right, there is our sort of grass. I'm just going to leave it really plain like that. If you want it a bit darker or a bit different, you could put some darker colour at the bottom. It's completely up to you, but I'm just going to keep it simple. We have snails. Let's do our little snails. Let's come in a little closer so you can see them because they're quite small, but we're going to do them both together. So I need them both in shot. They might be, I hope they're not too blurred. I find my camera tends to focus on the centre, which is fair enough. Now their bodies, I'm thinking a brownish grey. So I'm going to grab my Davy's grey. I think we used that for the steps, didn't we? Davy's grey. Now I'm going to make do them a little darker on the edge of their body. So I'm going to start off by putting down a good few layers there and then gently coming in with a few less. So we've got a slightly lighter bit here. It's not completely white. Now the same on the top half. And then hopefully it makes their body look a little bit more rounded, like it isn't just, they're not completely flat, because obviously they're not, like that. And we're going to do the same on this one, but obviously he's at a completely different angle. So I'm going to make him darker here, where he's touching our stem. Just do those dark. And here, but then make it lighter all the way up to there. So the lightest bit is there. Just layer that up a bit more. There we go. You can put an even darker colour in there if you wish. Just looking, what could we use? I think only the black is significantly dark. I'll just give that a sharpen. Do a tiny bit of black in there. So this is the ivory black. I'm just going to do a little touch here, not pressing too hard. And maybe a little shadow line under the shell, like that. Now for this one, we can just do a little bit of shadow here and here. Maybe just the tiniest bit on the edges. I just whisper, because it's just a little bit. Now, we can see these guys have got stripy shells. What I do with the stripy shell is I tend to do it a sort of very light brown, yellowy colour, like an ochre, and then a darker brown. I see snails that do look like that, which is why I tend to do it like that. So I'm going to find the yellow ochre light for the first layer. I don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is. So yellow ochre light. Now with the shells, they are rounded, and so this part in here will be a bit darker. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to put the colour down. I'm not going to worry about the shape of the shell yet, but I'm not going to put it down too hard. Don't burnish it into the page. Make it visible, but not too dark, because I'm going to try and put another colour on top. So I want to make sure we've got the leeway to do that. Do the same with this one, so not too hard, but just enough. Sounds a bit silly. There we go. Now our brown, I'm going to use the brown ochre. I think that's possibly the right sort of colour. It doesn't matter that much. I don't want it too dark either. So we're just going to do the same thing, not too dark. Just going round. Hopefully you can see my big clumpy hand in the way. It's just a foot that's clumpy, not a hand, isn't it? And it all looks quite flat. We're going to bring it to life in a minute with a bit of shading, shadowing. What colour shall I use though? I think I'm going to use the burnt umber. I used it already. Not today. Yeah, burnt umber. Right, now let's start on this one. Now along this line here, we're just going to emphasise some shadow in there, all the way around. And on the outside as well. So just putting a layer really. And what a difference it makes. Look, it looks far less flat than that one, I think. And do the same with this one. So just on the inside of the line to start with, and then on the outside. There we go. Now some people might even draw a little shine on there with a white pen. You could do that. I don't want to do that because I've got white shine anywhere else. So I think it's going to look a little odd. Now, we have got a flower here. Now I think this is like a yellow marigold type thing. I can't think of the name that I'm trying to say. Now I really like the brilliant yellow. No, the golden yellows are the nice colours in this set. We have the golden yellow deep and the golden yellow. I'm going to use the golden yellow deep first, if I can find it. Is that it there? Cadmium yellow deep, golden yellow. There it is. But I'm not going to do the whole of the flower in this really deep colour. I can do the centre and the bases of each petal. I'm hoping we can do a couple of shades. So sort of at the bottom, leaving the tips white. If you find this difficult, just colour the whole thing in yellow. Now this could be a marigold. I know it's not because I've looked in the back. I think it's the same flower as in the other picture I did. This is the lemon yellow light, which I'm going to use for the tips. So I think it is supposed to be yellow, and I think it goes really nicely with the pumpkin. This isn't showing up. I'm going to colour all over because it's a bit easier to get some colour out. Yellows can be hard to get the colour out. I think we're getting somewhere. There we go. Now the stem, I'm going to do it in the castle green light that we did the grassy pieces in. Maybe that's where it's come from. Now the bird, I want to do the bird brown because I feel like that will work with our colour scheme. Now where should we start? We'll start actually, the yellow ochre light is actually a really nice warm base colour, so I'm going to do him all over with that first. Now it is quite yellowy, but that's okay. We're going to come in with some browns. We're not going to do it too hard just a nice warm base layer. Don't worry about his legs and beak yet, we'll do that a bit later. We'll probably leave his eye as it is, it's looking nice. I don't think it really needs anything doing. And his tail. So just a base to work on. There we go. Now we're going to use the raw umber to start defining some of the feather work and things like that. Just give it a sharpen. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. Put in a little bit of colour down here, just where I think there might be a little bit of shadow, it might be a bit darker. I'm just having fun with him really, just messing about. Now I've got a sort of darker line here, so I think I might follow that with this, like that. It's quite cute, isn't it? And then we've got these feathers, so I'm going to try and make them sort of darker at the base and lighter at the tip, so you can sort of see them a bit better. Same on these. And on the, oops, that bit and the tail. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere, but now we want a dark. So I'm grabbing my burnt umber and we're going to do some more defined work. So I'm thinking along the edges of these feathers. We'll get some dark colour in there and we can really start hopefully to see the three-dimensional look of those a little bit more. Just going around the edges. Sorry, not talking. I'm running out of voice. I need to go and get my coffee soon. Just mark out these a little bit. And even these down here, which we sort of ignored before. Now, he's feathery, so we can do a bit of a feathery movement, like that. We sort of haven't done the back. I'm feeling like I want to define the end of the tail, so I'm actually going to make these quite dark and then fade it in and bring them in from there, so it looks a bit shiny and a bit darker like that. So our wing and our tail look a bit darker than the rest, which is fine. Now I'm going to do the beak. Oh, we've got the davys grey. No, I'm going to use the paynes grey. We have used this already on the lamp and the window frames, so I think it will tie in. My son still hasn't clarified what he meant. I wonder what he is talking about. Anyways, I'm going to try and make it a bit darker at the bottom. Leave a little white shiny bit on the beak. The legs, I'm thinking a bit darker on the edges. And the lower bits are going to be darker, so these claws quite dark. Okay, let's have a look at him. Now I need to just do my background, and I say just do, I make it sound like it's quite easy. I'm going to make it easy, I hope. So I'm just going to move these pencils up out of the way. And here is our page. Let's get it all into shot. There we go. And then we need our pastels, which are next door. Hold on a moment. Right, I am back with my Mungio soft pastels. My cotton cloths need washing. I haven't got round to doing it yet. So I'm going to be using some disposable ones, which aren't as good either. But anyway, that's fine. I think I'm going to start with doing something at the bottom. I'm thinking maybe a light brownish colour. We have some of these browns. This one's quite warm. I'm just going to go over it and look. But that's sort of slightly orangey brown, which might work. Now I try and put my fingers on top of something I'm not going to put pastel on when I'm applying it, so that I don't get so many fingerprints on the actual page. So I want it to sort of look like it's dirt, but I think it can look quite nice. It doesn't have to look horrible just because it's soil. Yep. And then I was trying to work out what my son was meaning in his message while I was fetching these. I got distracted and had my drink and stuff, but I suspect he's on foot at the moment, walking from the station to his uni, so he's not looking at his messages. Now I want a sort of greeny colour behind here, as if there's some foliage and things going on. Now I think these olivey greens match the greens that I've used the best. This one is lightest, so I'm going to use this one first. It's a bit more awkward to apply and doesn't go on as thickly compared with using the cloths I'm used to. You can buy sort of special sponges and pads and things like that, but I don't know whether they are reusable or washable and things like that. That's something else you can tell me. What do you use? Have you found anything really good? I definitely want reusable. I like what I have, what I use, so I'm not necessarily looking to change, but if there's a better solution to what I'm doing, then I want to hear about it. I mean, those of you with pan pastels might have the pan pastel sort of brushes and things, and they are so expensive. Are they justified? I'm trying to work out why it looks odd. It's because we've got a black picture behind. I can see a circle around there where the black starts. It's the pages in Maria Trolle's books that have a black background printed on. One of those. I'm not sure what to do about the sort of top part, the sky. I think I might fade it into a yellow rather than have it green. So I'm going to work on this green bit first, all the way up to past the bird, I'm thinking. Just to sort of there. Okay, it's a bit pale. I'm going to grab some of the darker green. This one. Put a bit down here. Fade it up. It's much easier to blend pastel, I find, than pencil. It's much quicker as well. but obviously you can't get all the small details that you might want, so that's why I don't use it for like the whole page. But it is a very useful tool. I'm going back to the one I was using before now to just tidy up this next bit before I find a sky colour. I also find that you get quite an uneven, you can make it really even if you want to, but I tend to find that mine's quite uneven, and I actually rather like that, which is fortunate that it does that, and I like it. I'm trying not to make my flower too green. Okay, now I'm going to go with a yellowy colour. They've got these really bright yellows. I'm not really wanting something, I'm wanting something that's a bit more muted, and I'm wondering about these rather than these are just too bright, but these aren't really the correct tone. I'm going to try it. I think it'll be better than green in the sky, but better than using those bright yellows. I find those quite difficult to use, to be honest. When they're patchy, they look a bit odd, whereas I think this one looks better. And I find doing a bit of a background can make some pictures just look a bit more finished. It depends very much on the picture. If you're doing something that's a mandala or a random pattern of some sort, background isn't really necessary. Nothing stopping you from doing it, obviously, but whereas because this is a sort of scene, then I feel that there wouldn't be white in the background, so I feel like I should have a go at doing something. But you really don't have to if it's not your bag, if you're not feeling up for it. If you think it looks really nice without one, just don't. There's no... Gosh, this is awkward. I'm going to get my other ones washed as soon as I finish this, and hopefully they'll be dry soon, because I don't like using these. Perhaps I should get another set of the same ones so that I've got a backup set when one's being washed, because these aren't very good, but I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to overdo it too much. Let's put that into the middle, so you can, I'm trying to put it into the middle. I've got too much mess around here. Let's put the lid back on the pastels. Sorry, there's a lot of rustling going on. I haven't got a big packet of sweets. I'm just rustling the packet of my cotton swabs. Right, let's move that out of the way. Let's put it into the centre so you can see it. So there is our pumpkin picture. So yeah, I'm rather happy with that. It was a lot of fun. I hope that you enjoyed it as well. Maybe you coloured along, maybe you coloured a different pumpkin, I'm not sure. But thank you so much for watching. I do hope you have a really lovely day. Please do comment. Let me know about pastels or just anything. Just say hi in the comments, you know. It's always nice to hear from you. And please like and subscribe. And thank you so much. Have a super day and happy colouring.